Hello and welcome to Ocean Witness, the weekly show where we follow Greenpeace's pole-to-pole expedition. I'm Simon Watt.
And I'm Sophie Duker, and it's time to grab your wetsuit and flippers because this week we're heading to the deep. Did you know that I'm deathly scared of scuba diving?
No.
Yeah, I just feel a lot of pressure when I'm down there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Surely nobody can accuse us of being shallow. On today's show, we'll be delving into some of the least understood places on the planet.
Coming up, we'll meet a scientist who discovered an incredible underwater world called the Lost City.
We'll travel to the Amazon Reef with Brazilian superstar Giovanna Lancelotti.
And we'll bring you a wonderful short film by Mexican director Manolo Caro.
But first we're going to catch up with what the Greenpeace ships are doing in Antarctica right now. Do we have the webcam?
Oh, it looks very imposing.
Yeah, and quite stormy. I hope the weather's okay from down there.
We've also got a little video update from Will McCallum, Greenpeace's head of oceans, in a segment that I think we should call Where's Will?
Hi, we got to the South Orkneys a couple of days ago. It is the most magical place you could imagine. I mean, we've just this morning seen the fog lift for the first time. You can actually see the tops of some of the mountains. And the landscape, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. There are icebergs literally everywhere. Our mates are having to navigate amongst them all night, every night. It's quite an exhausting bit of work for the ship crew. On the way here, it was quite a rough crossing. A few people were seasick, but when we arrived, we were treated to one of the most incredible sights of a pod of maybe 50 fin whales and humpbacks together blowing. And it was snowing down and the fog was down. And so mainly all you could do was just hear the blow of the whales. And then every now and then the snow would lift just enough that you could make out the mist rising from each of their backs way out into the distance. It was absolutely astonishing. We were there for a good hour just watching them.
I take it back, that view looks absolutely amazing in that video.
Yeah, it sounds like we got lucky. When you can see it, it's gorgeous.
But now it is time to head to a magical place in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, as my lovely assistant will now point out.
Just here.
Over 750 metres below the surface lies the Lost City. Let's take a look and meet one of the scientists that discovered it.
It was the most exciting moment of my career. We've never seen anything like it before. It's a place that we think may be the origin of life on Earth. We discovered Lost City completely by chance. It's such an important place, but we don't understand it yet. If the Lost City was destroyed, it can't be replaced, and we truly won't know what we've lost.
And we are now joined in the studio by Greenpeace Oceans campaigner Louisa Casson and on video call from Switzerland, Gretchen Fruh-Green. Hi, Gretchen.
Hello.
Hi. So you first discovered the Lost City about 20 years ago, almost by accident. Can you tell us about that, please?
It was by accident. We were actually studying how this big mountain was formed, and we were doing a camera survey, and all of a sudden these white towers. At first it was corals, and then these white towers came on the screen.
What was going through your mind?
Well, we were at first very confused as to what we were seeing, but then we were very, very excited because we knew we were seeing something different, and we knew we were seeing what we call a hydrothermal field that had never been discovered before. I still get excited when I see the pictures of the towers, and I get astounded at the beauty of the underwater world at Lost City. And one of the things about Lost City that some biologists believe is that it could be the origin of life. And it could be a analog for how life could form on other planets like Mars or different moons. Because these reactions with the mantle rocks are very special, and they create nutrients in the form of methane and hydrogen that microbes can utilize. So there are theories that places like Lost City could be the cradle of life.
So they're not just of interest to conservationists, they're of massive interest to the scientific community as well. This is something they'd want to study and understand.
Yeah.
It sounds like a pretty fascinating site. What are the current threats to the Lost City?
Well, Lost City is in an area that has been designated as a lease for exploration from the International Seabed Authorities. What's threatening Lost City is there's no true controls on or guidelines what these exploration companies can do. And if you go in and you have no control on the exploration or on the exploitation, then you could destroy something that took 30,000 to 100,000 years to build, and we don't really know the importance of it yet.
Thank you so much, Gretchen. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks very much. Now, Louisa, you are joining us because you've also been lucky enough to see the Lost City while you were in the Esperanza.
Yeah, we sailed right over it, so it was deep below us, about 1 kilometre under the waves, but we knew that we wanted to put Lost City on the map. We knew that, this is a really powerful symbol of something that we need to protect. We need to come together and protect from the industries that are trying to plunder the global oceans, actually at a time of a climate and nature emergency.
Okay, we've been talking a lot about protecting the Lost City. What would you say are the threats, the main threats to it?
So the deep sea mining industry is something that not many people have heard of. It's not managed to get its claws into the ocean yet, but we know that a handful of governments and companies are really keen to send these industrial-sized bulldozers down to the deep ocean. And the machines themselves look sort of like if a child was to draw an evil machine. They're these huge bulldozers, they've got spikes on them, and the idea of them cutting and destroying bits of the deep ocean floor, particularly unique ecosystems like the Lost City, I think is something that we really need to be fighting against. So we're hearing from scientists that actually deep sea mining could cause unavoidable and irreversible biodiversity loss, and it could even stop the ocean from being able to protect us against climate change. So really not a good thing, and at the moment we're at quite a pivotal point because deep sea mining isn't happening anywhere. So we can actually force governments to make that decision, to face that public scrutiny of should they be protecting or do they want to carry on exploiting the oceans.
Deep sea mining is like a threat on the horizon. It's not happening yet. Do we need it to happen?
Absolutely not. We know that the ocean is facing more pressures now than at any other point in human history. Some mining companies are saying that they need metals and minerals found on the deep ocean floor, but no metals are worth destroying a unique ecosystem for. Or a lot of people have that drawer in their room full of old phones which are jam-packed full of these kind of metals. There's really low recycling rates for metals, and that's why we're calling on companies to do the more sensible thing of boosting recycling, finding more innovative ways of designing products that actually use materials more smartly and mean that we don't need to be going down to the deep ocean floor in search of metals.
So that's a way we can all try and protect the ocean ourselves with recycling. But how will things like ocean sanctuaries help the deep sea?
Deep sea mining is a really good example of where we have a so-called regulator that actually has never turned down a license application to start exploring for deep sea mining. Whereas if we have a strong global ocean treaty, that means governments can come together and put areas of the ocean like Lost City totally off limits to all sorts of direct pressures, and can actually raise the standards all across the global oceans for what kind of activities are allowed to take place.
Thanks, Louisa, and you'll be back soon to answer some of our viewers' questions.
Now, the Lost City is the kind of place that most of us can only ever visit in our imagination. So in July, Greenpeace challenged artists on Instagram to draw it.
Yes, artists like Quentin Blake, Charlie Adler, Gemma Corral and the Smurfs all took up the challenge. And while you enjoy these artworks, Simon and I will be creating our own artistic responses.
And do please join in at home. Finished?
I don't think a good artwork is ever truly finished, but yes, I have concluded this painting.
Ready?
Yes? Oh, sorry.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Oh, wow! Is that a hairy crab at the bottom of your picture?
It is. Good spot, yes.
Yeah.
I have to ask, you were taking the Lost City thing, the city thing very, very literally. Is that an underground?
It's a Netro, and it's a sort of like underwater travel system.
Artistic, and it really says something.
Thank you.
So let's take the chance now to travel from the Lost City all the way south to the Amazon Reef.
Actor and star of Brazilian TV series A Second Chance, Giovanna Lancelotti, joined the team on board the Esperanza and will now introduce us to this fascinating ecosystem.
Existe mundo à parte, só revelado em 2016 por biólogos e cientistas, com inúmeras espécies que jamais imaginavam encontrar aqui, tão pertinho da gente. Um sistema recifal carinhosamente chamado de corais da Amazônia. É como um longo corredor ecológico com grande biodiversidade que vive a até 200 metros de profundidade com pouquíssima luminosidade, ao contrário do que se vê pelo mundo. Com estimativa de até 56 mil quilômetros quadrados só no Brasil, os corais da Amazônia podem ser um dos maiores do planeta. Conhecer cientistas, ativistas e parceiros de tripulação que escolheram doar suas vidas para preservar e recuperar o que sempre esteve ali é inspirador e, no mínimo, emocionante. O trabalho aqui é árduo, imprevisível e contínuo. Desde a limpeza e funcionamento da embarcação até a pesquisa e observação dos animais, são 24 horas por dia dedicadas à preservação e ao nosso futuro. De todos os cantos do mundo, os tripulantes trazem na bagagem experiências e muita vontade de lutar. Essa galera realmente faz a diferença. A grande ameaça vem através da poluição e principalmente pela incansável busca de petróleo. Vocês sabiam que a instalação de plataformas petrolíferas, além de ameaçar esse sistema recifal, gera um barulho extremo, desorientando e alterando a rota de animais que aqui vivem e se reproduzem? Além da possibilidade de vazamento, o que causaria danos irreversíveis ao nosso patrimônio natural e comunidades costeiras. A queima de combustíveis fósseis aquece o oceano e o planeta, causando aumento da temperatura da água, o que resulta no branqueamento de corais e recifes, e assim, incapacitando-os de receber tanta vida. Nós também seríamos prejudicados, já que 50% do oxigênio que respiramos vem das águas do mar. O Greenpeace, junto com a ajuda de todos nós, já conseguiu com que 5 blocos de petróleo fossem retirados da região. Mas ainda temos muito a combater. 284 novos blocos estão sendo colocados à venda no Brasil, e muitos deles em cima dos corais da Amazônia. Você não precisa estar embarcado para ajudar os nossos oceanos. Você pode começar a fazer sua parte melhorando seus hábitos, responsabilizando empresas que provocam danos ao meio ambiente e pressionando os nossos governantes.
Now, the images of the Amazon reef you saw in that clip weren't easy to capture because until this expedition, no human diver had ever descended to the Amazon reef.
6 divers on board the Esperanza travelled to the reef, and it was not an easy dive. So join us via video. We have Sophie Verne from Greenpeace in Paris. Hey, Sophie.
Hi.
Can you tell us why was this environment so challenging?
It was an area where no dives have ever been done before by human beings, you know, and it's also an area where you have a lot of currents, a very poor visibility, all that kind of things.
What were the specific safety precautions that you had to take for such a challenging dive?
The divers were attached with a rope all together. To not be, because there's no visibility and they could not lost each other underneath. We had also, for example, an hyperbaric chamber on board in case of emergency, an accident of decompression, that kind of thing.
So it's a decompression chamber to stop them getting the bends and things like that?
Yes. We had also specialized hyperbaric doctor on board.
What did it actually feel like when they first went under the water? Was it nerve-wracking? Was it scary?
I felt a little bit stressed because at that moment, I really could feel the responsibilities on my shoulders, you know. It was just stressful for the first one because we didn't know where we were going. It was first time on this area.
So can you tell us a little bit about what did you actually see down there?
The dives were between 80 to 120 meters depth. After the 20 meters, it's getting totally dark. So they are in the black, in the dark until they go to the bottom. So it's all in the dark, but when you put some lights to take some pictures, it's absolutely beautiful. You have a biodiversity, an ecosystem very special there. Because, you know, reef systems most of the time are not in the dark, they are not so deep, that kind of thing. So it was really something amazing to see, this biodiversity down there that they could take for samples and send back to the ship for the scientists.
Sophie, what would you say are the main threats to the reef at the moment?
Well, the main threats are clearly the oil drilling companies that wants to target this area for the oil exploitation. We could see that they are drilling just close to the reef. So they are destroying the reef already when they do that kind of drill. So that's the main reason why we want to protect the area. And we don't know anything about it except those samples that we just took.
It would be a real tragedy to lose all that when we're just discovering it. And we know so little of it right now.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you.
Goodbye, guys. Thanks a lot.
Now it's time to return to the surface and the Arctic Ocean for life on board. This week we're meeting Rita, a deckhand on board the Esperanza.
I was a kid and we had a cartoon on TV, and the character of the cartoon, which I used to like a lot, at the end of that one episode, he's on the bow of a ship with a captain's hat. And I was like, I want to be that. That was when I was very little. And then when I grew up a little bit and Greenpeace started working in Lebanon, they had the advertisement of the protecting the whales. And I was like, this is it. I want to be one of those people in the ribs. It took about 10 years. and then I became one of the people in the ribs. I made it. My name is Rita Ghanem. I'm from Lebanon. I'm a deckhand on the Esperanza. As a deckhand, basically we take care of the ship. If we are in campaign mode, we do whatever the campaign asks us to do, like making banners or driving boats. If we're not in campaign mode, basically we take care of the ship. So painting, greasing, chipping rust. In a lot of ways, I feel privileged and lucky, but at the same time, there are moments where it's very, very hard and physically very demanding, but it's a very beautiful job. For me, it gives me a purpose. We think that the oceans are invincible, but that's not true, and nobody is there to witness what's happening or to show the people on land what's happening. Overfishing and all these things are just destroying our oceans, and I just wanted to be the voice of the fish, really, that don't have a voice. We do need to protect the oceans, and at least 30% of all our oceans and all our seas should be marine reserves if we want to have healthy oceans for the future generation.
Now it is time to meet our creature of the week. Simon, can you tell us a little bit about your friend here?
Well, this is the scaly foot snail, and I think the name kind of says it all, and has so far only been found at 3 hydrothermal sites just off the coast of Madagascar. But it is unique because these sites are unique. It has an incredible biology. That shell you're looking at is literally ironclad. Like the ironclad snail, it sounds like something from Game of Thrones, doesn't it? Down at the bottom of the ocean where this lives, there is very little oxygen. And so this creature has got the biggest heart compared to its body size of any animal on the entire planet. Big-hearted and ironclad, what's not to love?
Sounds like my type.
And there's another thing which makes it unique. This is the first creature living on the ocean floor that has been declared endangered because of the threat of ocean mining. Even surveying some of these sites could kick up sediment that could potentially smother it and damage its home, the hydrothermal vent.
I guess even if it's not the best looking of the underwater creatures, it is still valuable in the wider ecosystem.
Yeah, we shouldn't be so shallow in the things we love. And in the deep, we definitely shouldn't be shallow. These things are gorgeous, if you ask me.
Well, you heard Simon, let's do it for the snail. It might not be the prettiest creature out there, but sign the petition you can find either above or below this video.
Now it's time for your questions, and Greenpeace campaigner Louisa Casson has come back to us. So, first Louisa, what can I do to help if I don't live near the ocean?
Well, luckily, a lot of the really harmful decisions that are affecting our oceans happen on land. So actually using your voice on land to lobby your local MP, writing to ministers, calling on companies who are harming the oceans, all of that stuff, when we do it collectively, we know can make a really, really big difference to protect the oceans.
What's our biggest problem in the ocean at the moment?
In a way, it's the fact that there's so many different threats at the same time. So, I think it's difficult to pick out one problem because they're all interacting. If we look at it from the perspective of fish, they're facing it from all different angles, whether that's industrial fishing, whether that's oil drilling, or whether that's things like plastic pollution and climate change. And it's the fact that there aren't enough safe spaces where they've actually got the space to recover, to bounce back from those direct pressures that are making it harder for them to build resilience against these cross-cutting threats like plastic pollution and climate change.
I suppose that's one of the reasons why setting apart large sections of the ocean, 30%, is kind of the only answer.
Exactly, we really need to be thinking about this holistically and thinking actually we have to create these safe havens because we know that the ocean has an incredible ability to bounce back if we let it be.
Thanks very much, Louisa. And if you've got any questions for next week, just get in touch with us on Greenpeace at social media. Now, Greenpeace will use every tool it has at its disposal to protect the oceans, from lobbying politicians to diving the Amazon reef, and now even dance. While the Esperanza was in the Sargasso Sea, it became the setting for a unique film.
The Depths of My Memories is a collaboration between House of Flowers director Manolo Caro, star of Money Heist Pedro Alonso, and the English National Ballet's principal dancer, Isaac Hernandez. And I think you'll agree it is quite something to behold.
Para escribir lo que evoca mi memoria decidí regresar. Volver al principio. Aquí y ahora. En la abrumadora inmensidad donde me encuentro. Reconozco el daño que te he causado. Esta es tu playa. Es reconfortante sentirlo. Y a pesar de lo poco que pueda ofrecerte, no hay amor donde no hay vida, que es lo que ahora tú arrojas. Para luchar contra ese daño me queda poco tiempo. Por eso he vuelto a ti. Y porque aquí está mi inspiración. El espacio en el que habitan mis recuerdos.
Don't you just hate attractive, talented people?
They are the absolute worst.
That's all we have time for this week.
Join us next week when we'll be focusing on fishing and sharks.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my teeth into that one.
Oh, Simon.
Yeah. And I know you've heard it before, but it bears repeating. If you've not already signed the petition calling for a strong global treaty on ocean protection, do it now. Click on the links that are either above or below this video. And until next time,
Bye.
bye.